positive change. I finally have a co-host, Veronica.
Hi everyone. Oh, okay. I'm not used to talking to mics. I'm not the blah blah blah. Okay. Anyway, so apparently I'm not good at public speaking. But so you guys probably have seen my face at plenty of the downtown React meetups. I really just have been more behind the scenes helping Roberto. So yeah, if you guys ever need advice, I've done tech recruitment for 4+ years here in Austin. Agency, I just now joined a company called Storable. So we are hiring engineers. So if you are looking for a job, we have jobs. But outside of that, I'm not going to be salesy and try to get you to come work for us. Really just here to be a resource. So if you need help looking at your resume, if you need tips on interviewing or applying for jobs, or just any advice at all about the tech landscape, and as you're trying to get your foot in the door, let me know. More than happy to help. But yeah, so I will let Roberto take the mic again because I'm not great at public speaking.
Cool. So who's hiring? Anyone want to come up here and give a quick shout out of what you're hiring for?
I guess I just said Storable. So Storable is this really neat tech company. You may know them by Spearfoot, but they recently merged and acquired a couple of companies in Raleigh and Kansas City, so we're growing quite a bit. And so Storable is focused on becoming, we are a one-stop shop for all software products and services for the self-storage space. I know that doesn't sound sexy, but it's actually really cool. So let me know. We have a really kick-ass, can I say that? I know it's being recorded. But we have a really kick-ass office space. We have really great benefits. We are hiring both junior and senior JavaScript developers right now, so let me know. I just got approval today on those, so yeah.
Anybody else want to come up here and make a quick shout out?
I'll keep it super short. Hi, my name is Madeline Gordon. I'm with Tech Systems, also do IT recruiting. I specialize in front-end web development. My partner Caitlin's there in the back. And if you are looking or curious, I can share my contact information with AirDrop. So if you throw it on, I'll share it too. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Brian Newton from Experian. We're hiring React developers, so hit me or my colleague Elvin back there. So here in Austin, off Barton Skyway. So hit me up if you are looking for the job.
Thank you. Jared?
Brandon's got it.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm with Move It, and we are a consulting agency. We've got small clients like startups, and we have a few bigger clients like MLB and Disney Plus. We are looking for developers, mid-level to senior range, primarily JavaScript and especially React. Even though we're a consulting company, the employees are still salaried, so we get full benefits. Our pay is independent on the work that's coming into us. So it's a really nice place to work.
Quick show of hands, who's ever tried to learn a language? Awesome. How did that go in the classroom? Univoice is trying to change that. We need your help. We're hiring developers right now. It's like karaoke. Just let us know what language you're learning and what kind of music you like. Rock. A little bit more engagement, help people have some fun learning language. So if you are interested in language learning and would like to code, hit me up. Wear the Univoice shirt. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Jesse Collard, and I'm the COO for See Here, and we're changing how you hear a picture. And I'm going to hand it off here to Ken Lusinger, who's our Chief Marketing Officer. And after that, you're going to hear from Austin Howes, who's one of our star developers. And I hope he had his ears closed during that whole segment on new hires looking for jobs. So, I'm just going to hand it off here to Ken now.
Hello, I'm Ken. I do marketing for See Here. Although while people were eating, my title is CMO, but while people were eating, they're like, so you're the taco guy. So from now on, Ken Lusinger, taco guy. All right, so who are we? We are C here. What we do is we've come up with something fairly interesting, and this is actually one of our first times we're unveiling it to the public because guess what? It runs in React. So it's called a CHIF file. Basically what we've done is we found a way to embed audio and other things into an image without creating a media file like a MPEG file. So let me show you. So these slides were made in the brewery down the street. So if there's misspellings, it's out of order, sue me. So generally, what happens is you take your image file, and then you take an audio file, and then you're gonna want to put them together. So normally, when you do that, you end up with this giant file. So we have you have things like so you end up with a MPEG, which is a 7.7 meg file out of this size file. So when you do that, what we've done is you've taken all of that out of the equation. So it's purely the audio file and the image file and text and possibly metadata if you want. As developers, it's you guys' call. So now we have a see here file, which is you add these two together and it's 826K. Now, so if you're doing over video, you're like, oh, that's not much of savings, the cloud. But think about this: if you have an e-commerce website and you want to add in a layer of interactivity to it, and you have 20 items, do you really want people to be trying to download and parse, and especially through your apps and through mobile, all those movies? So this is a little something that will give you guys an advantage, and it's free. So what happens when you? Okay, here we go. So there's a bit of a delay. So now when we say let's put audio into an image file. So one of the things, while it's boring, it's really important. So we're talking about ADA compliance and visual accessibility. Right now in the United States alone, there are 7 million people who are visually impaired. And so if you can put audio in your image, as opposed to right now it's an alt tag and some descriptors. So what we're doing is you can actually embed audio and text in an image, and it's portable. It actually stays with the image. So it's up to your content guys, not you. So usually you get a PNG and you say, okay, add this for accessibility, or they leave it out. Either way, you guys are the ones that get in trouble. So I mentioned e-commerce before, and now we're also introducing ADA-friendly SEO. So the data is actually encased in the image file. So if you're doing it correctly, then you have things like if you can embed text and you can embed audio, you can embed other things. So if let's say you use Adobe products occasionally, which you probably use it all the time. So now you can actually add copyright protection to your files. Not like some watermark that someone can go through and like real copyright protection. So, and another thing we're really excited about is see here in the medical realm. So right now you have, so let's say I hurt my knee, right? And I have a doctor does radiology, and another doctor takes notes, audio notes. Okay, so those go on, if you guys don't know what DICOM is, those go on 2 different servers. And what happens if I uploaded this, but the notes didn't make it? My notes can actually be embedded in the image file. My blood work can be embedded in the image file. My patient records can be embedded in the image file. It's making it super powerful. So I'm going to talk about ADA for a moment. And so let's talk about accessibility and compliance. Those of you that work for companies, I'm going to go real quickly. You're being sued. There are people out there, they're like patent trolls, but worse. Like, all I need is a disabled guy, and then I control a site, and then they get dinged, and then they get sued. Okay, so there's a weak hack compliance that can be met that is easier with a see here file. And it's a nice thing to do. Don't be a other. Make your website accessible to everybody. Especially if you have like, especially if you're selling something, you're marginalizing the whole community. And you're underserving the whole community. So, don't be a dick. So, all right, so, and also, developers are blamed, right? So, an alt tag doesn't make it, and who gets yelled at? You guys. So this puts the responsibility of that content in those spaces. So let's talk about early adoption. We have just started this. We're still building it. We're at the minimum viable product stage. You're the first React developers we're talking to. Now we're going to where we can put this in other formats like Bootstrap and in different CMSs. And so, but right now we can have you guys, shiny toy that no one else has. So if you guys want to get on this and build with it, you can. So we brought one of our guys. He's a React guy, and he's going to show you step by step. It will literally take moments. So you got to pay attention. It's like driving through a small town. Like you drive to Austin, you're like, oh, blood, so it's driving through a small town. So pay attention because it goes really, really quick.
I don't trust this slanted.
Yeah, it's a sketchy.
Give me the mic.
Okay, so So everybody, this is Austin.
Hey guys. I tend to annoy people when I use a microphone because I'm already kind of loud, so if you'll indulge me. But if anyone can't hear me, let me know and we'll just take the risk. All right, am I on? No, how do I? Oh, let me get it. Magic, please. I'm a developer, I don't know how to do things. All right, cool. Thanks. So, yeah, quick introduction. I'm Austin. I worked in 3D modeling for about 15 years, and I got into coding about 2 years ago when I found out how much of a blend it was between technical and artistic, skill sets required. Finding out that it wasn't just a recipe that you could never manipulate was really exciting to me. So, fell in love with code, got excited about it, and just started joining up. And I met these guys only about 2 months ago, and I really liked the product. As a developer, what I liked about this was that, I'd been in companies that the coding team had changed hands multiple times. Some of the alt stuff, some of the accessibility just got lost in the way. And I ended up getting talked to about it in a way that I had no authority over, no knowledge of. I didn't even touch that part of the code yet. And so a couple things for this, it seemed like it rises the tide for everything. I don't have to really worry about, tracking what the other team overseas did or what the other team down the road did or in another city did, or even the guy in the keyboard. It's just done. The content creator themselves actually builds all the accessibility into the file from the creation point of the content itself. So let's say that you're Geico, you're some company. Can we mention companies by name? I don't know. But yeah, let's say you're Geico. When somebody that's using the screen readers lands on a website, instead of it being some, robotic voice or Siri voice that says this is a Geico logo, the guy, whoever the dude is that does the Gecko's voice, can actually be their voice actor that creates the audio file that we embed into the logo, that we embed into the image of a car crash or whatever Geico would need. I'm sorry. So yeah, why did I choose something I don't know anything about? But yeah, so we have a lot of brand recognition that's going to come for free. And this isn't something that you need to worry about like retooling, retailoring, rebuilding, or even just maintaining to make sure it came with. It's just done. As soon as the image itself is built, it's built forever. And for me, that was just like a nice load off, but also there's just a lot of confidence in that where I know that the community that is often overlooked and underserved is actually taken care of, and I can't screw that up. That's always nice. Because my job as a coder is to screw things up constantly until that last millisecond. So I just want to build one really quick. There is really nothing to it, and apologies for this is our old site. I'm rebuilding a whole thing in React right now. I only joined recently. So we add an image, we add an audio file, and we'll add a text file, and put whatever metadata you want. You can think of these like Instagram tags. You can search them in a database with your username and find out everything that your company's ever built. You can make sure that, only this user tag on these domain sites will play. We can do a lot of cool stuff with that, but metadata is very exciting for us. create the stupid thing. Let's go. All right. So for anybody that the moon is controversial, I apologize. I know some of y'all are out there. So
They're at the angular meeting.
So the screen reader is going to tab over to this location, and we can pull up transcript. Whatever the content creator decides to put in this, you can immediately show these two things. I'm fighting with a dead president right now. So whatever the content creator wants to author in the first place, they can record any amount of customized audio, any length of audio, and any size transcript, any shape of transcript. All the line breaks are in there. So we just want to create something that works for the whole community, and by that we mean basically the globe at this point, because we're talking ADA. So this wasn't our target market. We just realized that we have a thing that can be free for this community that we can just unleash to all developers. We kind of have a hunch, like all good technology, y'all are going to find more creative ways to use it than we ever dreamed up. So we are really relying on the development community to really take hold of this. It's free. We need 3 lines of code. It's a couple import statements. Pretty soon, in a week or two, it's going to be on a CDN. So it'll be just like import bracket thing from this thing location. It's going to be it's already 3 lines, so it's pretty simple, but it should be 2 soon. But basically, we componentized into a single React component, something you can drag and drop everywhere you pass it props. And that props is going to be the name of the image file that you want, the source of that shift file. And so it's as easy as that. For React Developer, this is basically like saying, for every image I want, I just need to source it, and it's 1 line of source code, or 1 import line to get it in there, and 1 line to actually say, those are the props for the name of the file itself. And then it's done. So we want to get these things everywhere that we can get them. So, sorry, fuzzy thing floated in front of my face. So I think, am I missing anything?
Yeah, we'd like to open it up to questions.
Yeah, Q&R if you guys
real
want.
quick, I have one quick thing I want to say. We're looking for pilot partners, and we will cover what we're doing with it. We're working with Nobility, and I don't know if any of you know who Nobility is. They're a company here in Austin, and they do manual manual audits of your website to make sure it's accessible, and they'll tell you what's not working, what is, and they'll make recommendations. We're working with them, and anybody on the pilot programs we're going to be working with. We're looking for 3 or 4 pilot partners, and we will cover up to $6,000 of that accessibility testing of your website of our partners that we're going to work with. We want to learn what might be working and what's not working. We want to learn what from them, so we can go back and correct it, and we will be doing that. So anyway, I just wanted to say that.
And there's one other thing I forgot to mention. Instead of just thinking about branding or a alt tag out loud, there's also a cool feature that we've talked about where sites like Pinterest that have not been particularly interesting, or Imager that have not been particularly interesting to this community. Now when you get to a GIF or an image, because GIFs work on these things, of course, and it's just an image file. When you get to a thing and it's got rain in the background, we can just play for the user rain. They start hearing it, and they can kind of go through the emotional experience of being surrounded by another sensory version of that image. And to me, that was just really exciting that you can kind of get that for free. So.
And that is important for the accessibility community, because a lot of times all they hear is that computer voice of
This is rain falling on concrete.
Yeah. Yeah. And so here you actually can you can have the emotion of the person talking, and get that, they can feel that,
Yeah.
so instead of that.
So especially for you guys that have content creators that are in your site, that are a part of your site in any way, I think that's really where we really get to help you guys out, because it makes your content creators really happy. But anybody that's hosting an image anywhere, we'd like to work with you.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thanks. We'll do Q&R.